How many years do you think the guys who own Equity Bank are there seeing stars? Imagine moving from a building society to a bank. How many years of just seeing stars were they there just like...
They've loaned the guy money for a building. He's not paying them.
Running an African startup is very different to running a startup anywhere else in the world. There's the tech OGs, guys who've done it for a while. There's the new kids on the block. There's the VCs, impact investors, government stakeholders, and everybody else. It is a crazy show. And if you have been running a startup or know somebody who has, the one thing everybody has is war stories. My name is Tonee, and my African startup story is about those war stories. It's about trying to find the African inside the business, wherever the startup founder is from. It's about being able to stand up for what you believe in, to keep integrity at the forefront of what you're running, and try not to go crazy while you do it. So even as you listen, whether you're a startup founder or in any of these sectors I've mentioned, may you learn something, be inspired, maybe even start your own business. Welcome to my African startup story. Enjoy.
What's good? It's been 2 weeks. Yes, I know. Business trip. I was sick in the middle. Another business trip. Thank you for all of those who hit us up asking, where is the podcast? It is here, and I'm putting 4 of them back to back. So you're going to be having them over the next 4 days because we kind of need to catch up with the podcast vibe. This is so cool. I'm looking forward to this one. It's Muthoni Drama Queen finishing up on her 3rd podcast, talking about blankets and wine and the whole story around it.
Right?
No. Let's go.
Guap came.
Yeah.
It was not my intention. So guap is not my... It's not the carrot.
It's not the
carrot. It's not.
No.
To me, money is an outcome. Even now, money is an outcome of a process.
Yeah.
Right? If you're faithful with the process, the money will come.
Yeah.
So now I have a process that I've been faithful to, but in the middle, I lost myself as an artist, and that's just death. An artist must create. So it felt like death. And then
who was around you then?
Still my original team, and then now we have taken on interns, the first round of interns.
Wow. How many were you in total?
6.
You're 6 people. You're running shows for 1,000 plus people. 2,000.
This time now we are like 2,000 going on 3,000.
And your revenue is at what? 2, 3, 4 million?
Our revenue is now moving up. Our expenses have also moved up. Those years, I'm saying, those were some of the hardest years because, and that's something that, I guess people who are doing business should know. The minute you hit takeoff, right, your growth will be very large, right? But your expenses are also going to grow.
As fast.
Now, as soon as we gave people a taste for something different, as soon as we said, you can have Oliver or you can have Mafikizolo, it became, who is coming?
Yes, it becomes the standard.
So now when we don't have someone coming, we see that the ticket numbers stagnate.
Yeah.
And when we see someone is coming, we see the number spiking.
Yeah.
So now us guys need to keep the someone's coming.
And that's expensive.
Completely.
Yeah.
Completely. Minus other costs. I'm talking about fees. So at the second time, for example, when bringing my Fikizolo for the 5 year, that we did at Carnival, the 2-day in 2013 going to 2014. Yeah. Mafikizolo, there was...
There are the open acts.
Not just that. No, that one... That festival had a lot of headliners. We had Mafikizolo. We had
other people came.
Mikasa.
Yes.
We had Sautiso. We had Blinky Bill. We had Chris Adwar and Temi. So that was our headliner line. So you hemorrhage quite a bit.
So what kind of money? That was like 10 million shillings in that situation? About 10 million.
Yeah.
And the number of people who came for the event were how many?
That was like 4,500 paying people.
And now what is that? Each person paid. But that time it gone up from 1,000. It was like 2K now.
But now it was even like, I think that gig, it was more expensive because also we didn't have as many partners as we needed on that gig.
So like how much money did you guys pay to get in?
I think 3K, 2K, 2.5, I think. So it was about 2.5. So let's say 4K, I think, for the weekend.
So let's say 2,000, 4 people, so that's 8 million shillings at the gate. So you're already at a loss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is why you have to... That gig, I remember 2013 when we did the 2-day festival, we were at a loss.
Yeah.
We ran a loss on that gig.
And guys are looking at you like, oh my God, you're doing so well. Nini, look at you, you're so arrogant now.
So it's also when KRA call you and then you're like, guys, don't even use my audited books. Use mine, right? Don't
like
even use
notebook.
Use mine. Use my Excel. Look at what happens. And they're just like, why do you do this again? And I'm like, because the culture, dude. The culture. How many years do you think the guys who own Equity Bank are there seeing stars? Imagine moving from a building society to a bank. How many years of just seeing stars were they there just like...
They've loaned the guy money for a building. He's not paying them.
Just some Kikuyu guys from Muranga just wondering what's going to happen to their lives.
That's what it is.
So I think it's also just vision. Just knowing that this thing is long run. This is an African icon. This thing is going to outlive me.
Yes.
So the first years are going to be complicated and even the future years will be complicated. There'll be new problems, but also it's just like, it is what it is, right?
And it's doing what it's doing.
Yeah.
And people are loving it and they're showing up.
And also, we did the work of moving the culture. And that was a fundamental part of it. Was like, that's never going to change. For me, it's like really about how do you move the culture forward.
Yeah. Let's come now to the latter years, the 2017s, 18s, and 19s. How has it been now? What happened for you to get your spark back? Have you gotten
I got my spark back. I got my groove back.
What happened?
So first in 2013, my friend introduced me to his friends in Switzerland and paid for my flight to go and make music. Okay. And his thing was like, if it doesn't work out, you took a shot at it.
And this thing, Blanket still goes on every month, and you just bounced.
Yeah, just bounced. See, now there was like the interns have graduated.
They become employees.
Sandra is still holding the fort down. Sam is holding the fort. So I was just like, I just need a couple of weeks to go out and like try and do this music thing. When I went, that was also a really tough year. We had a lot of, it was a tough year. The friends, we lost someone that we really loved. So it came at the moment, and then they died. So there was a lot of things internally.
That is hard.
I needed studio.
Yes.
And I didn't realize I needed studio until I got to studio, and all these words were just tumbling out of me, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess.
I've been going through something.
I guess.
Yeah.
So being able to put that out, I was like, okay. And then we came here, and the first song that was 9 Year Who on the project, it did really well. And then just the reminder that, this music thing is dope, and I want to do it.
I love it.
To be honest, I also felt like the cosmic bell, right?
Is that right?
So at the beginning of 2014, when we brought Liquid Deep for the second time, when now we're transitioning from Mamba to Carnival, I remember when I was on stage to announce them, and kulikuwa na halaiki.
Where?
So
C's and C's.
Halaiki ya wanadamu.
I could not see the back of the crowd.
No, it was impossible. That gig was mad.
Yeah.
I remember just having a very distinct message channeled, which was the thing that you were looking to create. You've done it.
Here it is.
And so everything you do from now will be repetition.
But everything you do from now,
it's just repeat. Everything you do with this now is just repetition. So you're free. But now it's like, what does that mean? I really
are those goosebumps?
Yeah, that was a moment. I was on stage and I remember really
obviously
distinctly, because also the thing became quiet.
Yeah.
So I had one of those movie moments when it's like all of you guys are just there.
Then you come, you stand in front.
And I'm just there and I'm seeing you guys in slow motion, and I'm just like observing this thing, and it's a really out of body experience, and just having the clear understanding that thing, that vision that you had promised your heart, it's done.
Yeah.
You have manifested a festival.
Boom.
So now from here, and anytime you do this thing, it will be repeat. And I feel that was Spirit giving me the out.
Yeah. It's time.
So now next, right? And I regret not following the impulse of Spirit at that moment, because I was being given my next.
Yes.
Because 2014 was a rubbish year.
You always know. Whenever you don't listen.
It was rubbish. Yeah. That was 2012 going into 2013.
Okay.
Because we moved to Mamba to Carnival in 2013.
Yeah.
We were in Carnival for 2013 and 2014. So I did one thing, at Spirit's bidding, which was like the music thing happened. So I was able to record the music. But 2013 we had the elections, we had the bombings, we had Westgate, we had matatus exploding. So people just didn't feel safe going to gigs anymore. Yeah, we're still doing it monthly. You guys are still asking us who's coming.
Yeah, that's
right?
true. Who's coming?
And then we break up with our media partner at the end of the year.
Wow.
So
because it was tough for them as well.
No. By this point, I felt like our media relationship should have changed. It was very important at the beginning of a relationship to push, and we always said that you should push the event, right? Because the event congregates.
Yes.
So don't make it about an individual, make it about the event.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
But as soon as we started getting this, African artists and sort of headliners, it very much became about those artists.
Okay.
And I felt very frustrated, because for me it was like, but this thing was made for Kenyan artists.
Yes.
These guys we were welcoming them into our platform.
So they were also asking you who's next.
Correct.
Right.
And then I'm
that
like,
makes complete sense, actually.
Yeah, and I'm just like, no,
You're
Kenyans.
hijacking the concept of artists.
Yeah, it's Kenyans. Kenyans. And so the attention went to everybody else. The second thing is we often would have the meetings every month, and I would ask for like additional more programming of the Kenyan artists, because for me it's like a big part of the media is discoverability. So you can use your platform to
launch careers.
and to really support them, and like don't do it for the 2 weeks before it's like a listing of the music. Get people into the habit of Kenyan music.
It's true.
They were not very responsive to this idea.
Oh, because they also don't play the music on their radio station.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then Then the third thing for me was we had like some conversations about, okay, as media you're able to actually on board cash sponsors because you're able to trade media.
Yes.
Right.
Because everybody wants to buy media at that point.
But they were unwilling or we could not agree to the terms, because to me it's kind of like bizarre if you say on board a sponsor and then you want to keep 70% of the revenue. But why were we onboarding the sponsor?
What? Yeah,
we're onboarding the sponsor so that you can be able to give a better experience, or you can pay for artists. So it doesn't make sense if you bring me a sponsor and you say I'm going to take 70% so I can pay for my airtime.
Okay.
You're already giving me the airtime.
Yes.
And you're making a percent, because they were making a percentage of the revenue.
Okay.
They were always making a percentage of the revenue.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So
at the gate?
At the gate, of all the ticket sales.
Yes.
So they were making a percentage of that. Yeah. So then I was saying, increase the way that you can make money. I'm happy, of course, just like an agency. If you bring me a sponsor, of course, I'm happy for you to keep some of the money.
Yeah, definitely.
But I mean,
let's share fairly. It's Black and Swine event you built from scratch.
But also more importantly, when you really think about what is the purpose of sponsorship money, it's not for you to go and buy a Ferrari.
No, that's not the point.
Right?
That's not the point.
So that artists can have an improved experience.
Yes.
So you can build a proper artist backstage, so that you can treat artists with the dignity that they deserve, so that you can get better sound equipment. Yeah. It's so that the improvement of this thing, also so that you're able to get more artists. I really wanted to do artist development work.
What is artist development work?
So putting people together to develop skills. So if you bring an artist from South Africa, spend, 4-5 days with a band from Kenya, collaborate, make some music.
Cross-fertilize.
Correct.
Understand each other. Yeah.
So those things cost money. That's why you need the sponsors, right? Yeah. If people are having a shit experience with the toilets, so we need a bank of toilets.
True.
Toilets don't pay for themselves.
No.
Right?
We have to do some of those.
Correct. So we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things.
Yeah. Because again, that's the thing about the corporate mindset. It's very bottom line. Bottom line. They're looking for how they're going to make money of things. Yeah. And they were looking for ways they can make money of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
especially at that time.
Yeah.
And so 2013.
So then, so we serve our notice, and I regret the timing of it, because at the point at which we serve notice, I understand that it may have been interpreted as we were trying to cut them out of the 2-day festival.
All right.
And they feel like we've been part of growing this thing with you. So how can you break up with us in November and you have this thing that you're advertising for January?
Right.
So in retrospect, I would have changed the timing at which I would have severed the thing, because it would have been like, I understand. Yeah. It's a human thing.
It's true. I see. 2020, hindsight, vision. You can see it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. We grow.
But also, when we drafted the letter, I really thought that we had enough goodwill. I thought that it would be like, okay, so then afterwards, now let's talk. Like, renegotiate this contract.
Was that what the intention?
That was my intention, was that the contract is over.
Yeah.
And I said, so we are leaving our contract. I did it within the timeline of our contract. And I said I would want to come and renegotiate this thing.
Right. So
I need new terms.
So you came up with I
need new terms.
But there's a difference between what somebody communicates and what somebody hears.
Understands. And I really recognize that now. Yeah. Years later, I recognize that it was understood that we wanted to cut them out of the deal of the 2-day, which was a culmination of all this number of years, and they've been supporting for all these years. Why would you cut us out of the deal now?
Yeah, look at that. She's become cold-blooded.
Yeah. And because we'd been faithful, in 2013, 2012, we had locked a year-long sponsorship with SAB Miller.
Nice.
So we had a war chest.
You're getting primarily South African artists.
Exactly. So we've built a war chest.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So
of cash now.
Yeah. So in 20.
Are they giving you these things in kind, or are they giving you like a check transfer?
Cash.
Cash, really? Okay.
Pesa taslim. By this point, we have realized and also negotiate in dollars. Yeah. Okay. Now we know. When you talk to corporate Kenya, talk in dollars, you pay in dollars. So at least we've learned.
Yeah.
And then it goes to shit in 2014.
Explain to me what that means.
It just went to shit. And I really mean that. It just went to shit. Yeah. So at the end of that 2-day event, when we were in debt. right?
Okay.
I mean, we made a loss on that gig.
Yes, you made a loss
right?
on the gig, yeah.
We made a loss on that
And
gig.
who was at this is now the Liquid.
This is the 2-day festival where we have
festival.
everyone's like, oh my god, that was amazing, that was the best thing that has happened. Correct. But that was not the best thing. We
financially
didn't
it was
do
not.
intelligent thinking. We didn't have the right modeling around the tickets. Like, in retrospect, all these things that I now know.
Explain that to me so I understand.
So when you have a multiple day festival,
Yes.
your ticketing structure fundamentally changes because your costs fundamentally change.
That's true.
So if normally you're being charged $10,000 for sound and stage, now the sound and stage person wants to charge you $20,000.
That's correct, because it's 2 days.
It's 2 days.
Yes.
So even if you make the argument that, look,
You're not
if we
moving
did a
anything.
1-day event, you'd have still lost business on the second day when you're taking down
No.
the gig. They're like, yeah, but you wouldn't have been using it.
Yeah, no, because we're charging you for usage.
Yeah.
Not presence.
Correct.
Usage.
Correct.
So now your ticket of 2K.
Yes,
is
it does not.
actually-
The ticket of
doesn't
2K actually covers 1 day.
cover it only. And you're
Or
selling one
3K.
ticket.
Yeah,
for
I
2
think we
days.
charge people 3K or something, some money. Whatever. Our modeling was wrong.
Yeah.
Our modeling was wrong. And that those are things now you know.
Of course. I mean, that's
Now
the
you
point.
know.
That's the
So at the end of that gig, it was just like, man, do we really still want to do this? And for me, it had also lost. That year was hard, just keeping being asked, who's coming, who's coming, who's coming, who's coming, who's
And
coming.
getting people to come. must have
And
been
yeah, and also the number is now stagnant. So you need, the only thing that makes a difference is if you have a higher spend on an artist. When we have this high spend on artists, you guys come and just booze and talk, and all the Kenyans are performing because you're waiting for the headliner. So I regret that we contributed to this idea that the foreigners are more valuable than
That's
us.
correct.
I regret that.
Because even the way they were
It
arranged,
was never the way it was meant
Kenyan
to be.
artists started,
Yes,
and then
sir.
the big ones finished.
Yes, sir.
Instead of mixing everybody up.
Correct.
So you don't
Right,
create
yeah.
that mental hierarchy.
Absolutely.
True.
Well, to be honest, festivals use this formula everywhere. You need headliners, right? This is when Coachella comes out, you have the list of names that you can read, and then you have all these
Everyone
other
else
names.
down here you
okay,
cannot see. It's true.
because it's the model. You need the people who drive bums on seats. A headliner is a person. If nobody else was happening, would you still meet your financial objective by having that person?
That's correct.
If the answer is yes, that's a headliner.
That's true.
And then you have like a second tier of headliners.
You understand that what you've just said is completely not artistic at all. It's not an artist way of thinking. It's a business mind. You've become triple bottom line.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, we had to.
Yeah.
I had to. So these are also parts of the reasons why it felt like it was violating self.
Yes.
Because now I'm using an entirely different part of my brain to
Yeah.
make decisions.
Yes.
At the same time, I have a responsibility to the people who are now working for the organization. I have responsibilities to the government. I have financial responsibilities.
Yeah. Muthoni Drama Queen has become a businesswoman.
So
That's what it was.
now, 2014,
Yes.
you guys don't want to come for gigs. I don't know, Westgate has happened. I don't know what not. So we say, okay. We went to South Africa to watch a concert, and I went to this art district called Maboneng, and I saw the idea of like multiple ideas of you can have multiple experiences
Bring
within one
different things in
space.
one space, yeah.
It's like, okay, that's what we're gonna do. And we made a very, sincere decision as a business. We're just gonna ride for Kenyans again, right? I think it's now enough of like who is coming. So now who is coming is had the band and Sauti Soul and da. That is who is coming.
Yes.
Men, you guys were so annoyed.
Yeah.
And you punished us.
Because you started with an expectation.
Yeah,
And now
you really
we are
punished us.
junkies.
By the time it's the third month, it's like, who is coming? Nobody is coming. Our competition. Then now, also, for many years we had first mover advantage.
Yes.
Now, our former media partner has,
Karoga Festival.
gone and made this thing.
Yeah.
So, and
And that time Jazz Festival is already in there.
Yeah, there was
And
Jazz Festival. Yeah, so
Safaricom
now,
had to
yeah,
really increase the standard
exactly.
of what a festival looks
Absolutely,
like as well.
yeah.
And they've got the bank to do
Absolutely.
it. All right.
because for them, there's no financial model. This is not a business.
No, it's
this is
not
a brand
business.
activity.
Let's just go.
Let's just put money. Our brand looks good.
Yeah.
That is our
Because they were
KPI.
throwing $25,000, $50,000 a piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're not going to do a $50,000 gig in Nairobi and then come and do a $25,000 gig with you guys. There's a standard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
There you go.
the audience punished us.
Yeah. True. That's business.
And so our watches dwindled.
Drastically.
So by the time we're coming to the top of 2015, I was just like, this thing. Then also we got a new tax regime. So things got backdated.
Yes.
We now had to do like VAT on tickets. Like, things just changed.
Yeah.
So by the time we were getting into 2015, I was facing technical insolvency. Technically, I was going to become insolvent.
Basically, you've run out of money.
We've run out of money and we're not able to attract in the sponsors, but also we've run out of heart.
That's the part that's tough.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm just like, this thing, you can't say that Kenyan artists don't mean anything to you. You cannot.
Yeah.
You cannot say that you're only going to come for this thing if you're going to have South Africans.
Yeah.
And audiences were like, yeah, we can.
And we'll show you.
And we're going to show you.
Yeah.
Us guys are going where others are.
Yeah.
So that was a hard year to live through. 2014 was the hardest year of my life.
And you still did it month for month.
After that year, I was like, cool. So at 2015, we just took a breather.
Yeah. Which in itself was dangerous because now, as you're taking a breather, whoever is left attached to you as a tribe is seeing you walk away from the field and seeing all these other guys do what they're doing. How was that decision?
Very painful and also very necessary for the peace of mind. It was also just like, we had a good run.
Yeah.
So now we're just going to see what's up.
Were you closing shop or were you...
I was just sabbatical.
Breathing? Okay. And was it you or the whole team?
The whole team.
And what did that look like?
Everybody, it was sad and right.
Okay. And
everybody was like,
when was this?
2015.
January to December?
January, right. So it's like, we're not going to do anything. Then after like 4 months, we started talking about like, but what would be the festival that we would like to do? And we... At this point, we're like, there's more to this creative scene than just music. There's writers, there's visual artists, there's digital artists. We want a multi-genre festival. We want a multi-day festival. We want to have multiple experiences. We want to have something that is based on a philosophy that is not stardom. And this is how Africa Nouveau was born. So Africa Nouveau. Africa Nouveau is our second festival. We've done it like 3 times now. This year now you're going to see the festival growing into its own.
Okay.
And then, you know, I always feel like when you're ready, when the student is ready, the teacher comes.
That's true.
Because as soon as we sat and we had no idea how none of this was, just like conceptualizing the name, the thing, what it would look like, what kind of artist would be there. We got a call from Save the Children.
Yeah.
And they're like, we have this thing, MDG goals, you know, we want to do a thing. Would you do a thing? I would say, I don't know, but we have this thing on paper.
Yeah.
And they're like, correct, that thing.
That's
Can we do that thing?
Can we do that one? Let's do it.
And so we're like...
the same core team of 3.
So now we have the part of the core team has now moved on.
Yeah.
But now remember that we had grown our round of interns.
Yes.
So now I'm with the interns who are now event producers.
Yes.
So we're like, we try.
Yeah.
Let's try. And then we tried and we had the time of our lives.
No, nice.
And we remembered how much we loved to put together these artistic experiences.
For just the artistic experience.
Just the artistic
Not
experience.
For bank, just for the...
And then we still didn't know what... So we did one event that year. And we still didn't know what we were going to do. But at this point, the music is now starting to work out in Switzerland. I'm doing shows. It's like, okay, maybe it's a natural tempo. Maybe we just breathe and see what happens. Then in 2015, I started to talk to my current business partner who had come for the 2-day festival and was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
He grew up in San Francisco and he's just like, you know, he's grown up around festivals. He's like, this is amazing. We should do something. So we spent a year talking and it's like, okay, cool. Maybe we'll start again. My friend Boniface Mwang is like, look, I'm friends with Aloe Black. Aloe Black has been wanting to come to Kenya. Why don't we just do like a blankets? And even that time, like saying it felt like a hot wire in my heart. I was like, anyway, after coaxing and thinking, we're like, maybe we'll do it. I don't know whether it's going to be regular enough. Let's just try.
Yeah.
And then we did April 2016 and it was just like
that's
everybody had been waiting for us to do this thing.
Because that's a 15 month break.
They just walked in through the door.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
Mob.
Yeah.
I was like, what? And so many people being like, thank you so much for coming back. We missed you guys. You guys are the real deal. Blah, 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 blah.
Because I think also, and that's the beauty of taking a break. People get to know what they...
what they had.
You had
it so good. You had it so good. You didn't know. You guys mlituzoea. Mkafikiria hii ni kawaida. Ni kawaida gani?
It's true. It's always good to walk out on a couple of things.
Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's good to artists. Oh my God. I normally know that there's competitors having events because of when artists write to me to tell me things. Oh my God. We were treated. I don't know how what.
Because you got in for heart.
And also, I'm an artist.
Yeah, it's true.
In 2015, also, I've been a touring artist. From 2015, I started to tour.
Yeah.
And I would see what artist backstage looks like. So for me, it's like, it's really, 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 really about the artistic experience.
Yeah, and you were learning as you were doing it.
Exactly, right?
It wasn't about bank.
It was never about that. So I don't need to shortcut you on this thing because it's like, I want you to have the gig of your lifetime.
Correct, yeah.
The same way, like when they say I played Glastonbury, it's like it's like I played Blankets. It's a hallmark in your career.
There you go.
And it's not just by mouth. It's like really the experience, the way you were treated, the way, just the professionalism of the whole thing.
Nice.
So to see like artists just coming back, I just be like,
like we have struggled, bro.
I was like, guy, okay. So now what does this mean? So with my business partner, we're like, maybe. And also by that time, 2015, 2014, we began Kampala in, I think, 2013. I had a business partner, 2012, he'd come in, he was like, let's try. It's like, okay, let's try.
Yeah, how do you go there?
And Kampala now, it was just like that, you're dope.
Yeah.
Cool, let's try this thing.
So we do it.
Then we began also with like 200 guys, and then it picked. Now Kampala picked much faster. They had the benefit of our lessons, so they didn't need to repeat everything.
Yeah.
They always began with 3 or 4 in a year, so they were able to build momentum in between.
Yes.
The Kampala landscape, entertainment-wise, sponsorship-wise, is fundamentally different. So Kampala did what we did in 8 years in like 3 years.
Yeah.
Right?
There you go.
They were. So also I was keeping an eye on Kampala. I was a little involved. So in many ways, it was also just like, just take a break. It was just the toxicity of the environment here. I just need a break.
Yes.
So when we came back, it's like, okay, cool. So maybe we'll do this thing quarterly.
Yeah.
And we've done an average of like 2016 we did like quarterly, 2017 we did a couple of them. And my business partner also wanted us to try different things. Like what if we did a concert series as well? So just to test like different,
How it goes here, how it
music
goes there,
models.
just trying stuff out.
Do the one in Kigali, see what that means for us.
Yeah.
So there was just, so now I would say 2020 is when we have family decided we're going to come back in a regular way.
Which is what, monthly?
No chance. We're never going to go back to that.
No.
But we will do, so we've done January. We have one in April, one in September, and one in December. So we'll do 4 this year. It's a good enough rhythm.
And what have you learned about the artists headlining? And how have you implemented that in the
So from 2017, for example, we created a thing called the Kenyan headliner. So now it's understood you have to have a Kenyan artist who you give the same prominence and the same support and the same media, everything that you give to your other headlining artist. For us, that's become very important. Blankets has always been predominantly, it's been always like 98% Kenyan artists. But I guess even in the way we pay, so moving the pay right up so that, it's commensurate or as near commensurate. And also now we feel very strongly that if we do really have $50,000 to put, we should put it in the
Kenyan.
we should then have a longer programming of Kenyans and divide that because the money goes further.
Yeah, that's true. Because it's
true.
about the art, it's not about
and also just the money, and also just like we now know, the economics, what it really means when you pay an artist like $3,000. We're able to track it, we see how the money trickles. So for us, the priority has been to be able to pay Kenyan artists better and to have more Kenyan artists.
As I said before, Juliani was here and he was talking about how artists make their money, and they don't make a lot of money, generally. Do you agree, do you disagree?
Comme ci, comme ça.
Depends on who the artist is.
So as an artist's profile grows, there are ways to earn money is also going to increase, right? So now you're on brand endorsements, you are, your music is being licensed and synchronized for ads.
System
and
seems to be working better, so you can be able to get some MCSK and all those other money.
Even if that stuff is not working better, your music is now in movies, your music is now in advertisements, your sales, you're representing brands. So your ways of earning money have increased, except just this transactional pay me to do a show.
Yeah. And has social media helped drastically, or has it just helped?
A lot.
It's helped a lot.
Especially for discoverability.
Right.
Okay. Us guys are never going to lose this element of discoverability. It's a fundamental reason why we created. It was all the people who could never get space in the places.
Yes, exactly.
So a bulk of our performers are really people who you're going to discover on the day or people that we're working with.
Yeah.
Last year I ran a music incubator and we did 6 artists and we just taught them the business of music and the business of performance and the art of performance. And so to put them on stage for me was a very big thing. We are going to run the incubator for the next 3 years.
Whoa.
So to be able to create a pipeline for artist development, in training them, we also ended up training a lot of sound engineers and about 6 sound engineers, 6 light engineers. So those shows are now radically different.
Wow. So it's not
when
just
people are
changing
on stage,
the culture, it's changing the industry
absolutely.
as well.
For me, it's building an industry.
Building an industry.
It's really building an industry, right? I see now when we began, the people who would be on the crew, and now the people who are on the crew, because now artists can afford to have a stylist on the crew, a makeup artist, a photographer, videographer. These are services that they couldn't have afforded
before.
So before they used to ask us for footage. Now they just come and make their own footage.
And it matters because social media is where the people are going to be following them. No one's going to watch them on TV now.
No.
Why am I watching on TV?
Exactly.
It's going to be YouTube. It's
Absolutely.
going to be Instagram. It's going to be Facebook. It's going to be those things. As we come to the end of this, what are your learnings? The good ones and the bad ones. Well, so when you did the last blankets, you saw the photograph of You Must Be New Here.
You must be new to us.
You must be new to us. And before, in the 90s, in the 2000s, even in the mid 2000s, that direct customer client, customer provider relationship wasn't there. Now it's instant everywhere for everyone. It doesn't matter if it's Donald Trump getting feedback from a kawaida American citizen or you getting feedback from a customer, and there's that unfiltered and not necessarily productive engagement with people who you serve. What have you learned? What are the learnings? Where is that going? Who have you become because of that? Talk to me about that whole part of this business.
I think now more than ever, and I think especially because in the last 2 years, my own music career has had a fundamental shift, and I would say it's actually now working out.
Meaning that you're getting music that you love?
I'm doing music. I'm doing music that I love, and I'm touring.
Okay.
I'm doing the artist dream.
Yeah. So you're getting paid to do this now?
Yeah.
Nice.
And also I get to, I played 40-something summer shows, right? And I'm in a music environment where everything is done at a professional level.
Yeah.
So I have now become accustomed to the professional being my basic standard.
That's the standard.
Which then becomes what we do at the festival.
Yes.
The thing that has also done for me is that it's given me the next 50 years. Right?
50?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So now I see 50.
That is a long time.
Now I see 50 years.
You won't be there.
I won't.
Yeah.
But I see the next 50 years.
Okay.
And that's very helpful.
Okay.
Because then it's almost like don't sweat the small stuff. All of this is small stuff. Dude,
right.
We're building an African icon. Yeah. We're going to be here 50 years from now.
Yes.
So you win some, you lose some.
And if I was to come at you on behalf of the person who's the critic and say you are now because you become so quote unquote big, you are mistreating us small people who have participated in putting the building blocks of what blankets is together.
Yeah.
How would you respond to something like that?
I would say first, I think it's really important to always give feedback. Feedback is the only way that things move forward.
True.
And there's a lot of legitimate feedback.
Yeah.
And that's useful. And that's how we've always grown, because we combine our vision with the feedback from the consumer.
Yes.
I would say, though, that it's really important to distinguish between what is your expectation and what is reality. So one of how we ended up at this, for example, you must be new to us, is because we've been running an outdoor music festival for 11 years.
Yeah.
So when you come into the space with a demand and an expectation that there would be a dome, to us, really without any kind of hatred or snideness, it must be like, you really must be new to us.
Yeah.
Because for 11 years, we don't have a dome. And this is not new or unique. In fact, it's in keeping with thousands of outdoor music festivals.
Yeah.
Name them, Africa, Nyege Nyege, Sauti za Busara, Cape Town Jazz Festival, Joy of Jazz, Bushfire Festival. Name them.
Yeah.
Name any festival that you love.
Yeah.
Those are all outdoor festivals.
Yeah.
A fundamental challenge of an outdoor festival is weather.
Yeah.
And it didn't begin now, So 98% of the time we have good weather because we're in Africa.
It's true.
So dope.
Yeah.
The 2% when you don't have good weather, you bring a good attitude, right?
Oh, wow.
It's true.
But it's true.
It's really not rough.
Because
it's really true.
important.
Because if you went to Glastonbury, you would
First
carry
of all,
gumboots.
Let me be
That's
clear
it.
how messy Glastonbury is.
That's it.
Most guys won't hack.
That's it.
Yeah.
If you,
Day 3,
even if you went to Nyege Nyege, and that's why I'm saying you have to bring a good attitude, because that is what it is. It is what it is. The first year I went for Nyege Nyege, we got to the gate and it was raining.
Yeah.
So we just turned around in our taxi, went to town, bought gumboots and a raincoat and came back because we already came all the way to Uganda to enjoy this festival.
Yeah.
And for us, it's like, it's rain, it's not acid and it's not pee. So it's uncomfortable.
Attitude.
That's what I mean.
Acid,
It's not, so this is a very internal attitude. It's like, I came here and I came to have a good time.
Yes.
So for the worst of it, there's always some tents, there'll be some cover, right? And then, but the programming doesn't actually stop. Yeah. So if I really wanted to watch an artist and they're performing during the time when it's raining, you have to, as an audience, be like, cool.
This is what it is.
It is what it is, and I came for you.
I came for you.
So I give you the thing that I came with, and then you have to bring love to a music festival. You have to really bring love.
Somebody mentioned entitlement
of
clientele, and I don't know why it is, because a lot of the times I've gone for international festivals, you feel like you're part of a community that is serving and getting involved in a thing.
Yeah.
You're not there to be served.
Yeah.
Talk about entitlement.
I think that comes because the thing that a lot of people here have experienced are brand gigs.
Brand gigs.
Those are brand gigs, right?
Tell me about the difference.
So a brand gig, Jameson Live, Tusker Oktoberfest, Safaricom Live, they're not designed to be music businesses or music festivals, actually, they're not designed to do that.
No.
They're designed to give you a taste of the brand.
Yes.
So our brand, we want to be a swanky and whatever. Each brand has its own sort of presentation of self. So they're going to go and they're going to hire, a mega dome and they're going to blah, 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 blah. So what you end up having is a brand experience, and you confuse that with a music festival.
Right.
This brand experience has music in it.
Yes.
Right?
This brand experience has music in it.
It is not in itself a music festival.
Okay.
Right. So when you have that and then you cross over to a music festival, you think that the music festival that you have downgraded. But in fact, those guys are running loss-making ventures.
Yeah.
If I was to take them, if I was to say side by side, me as a music business and say Jameson Live as a music business, then in fact, Jameson Live is not a music business.
Yeah.
Once a year, they reward you for giving them all the money you've been giving them buying Jameson.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah, that's true.
So that's it.
Yeah.
So because you're used to that, you now think that is what a music festival is.
Right.
In fact, it's not.
No. And that's why when you look at music, not even music, when you look at festivals around the world, the festivals that people know, Glastonbury,
Coachella,
Burning Man, Coachella, these things, there's no brand there. These are festivals that were started by 3 people.
Correct.
And became what they are.
Blankets and wine.
Yeah, precisely. And now you see somebody like Stormzy blown away by starting Glastonbury. Then you see people reacting to Glastonbury and saying this is not a Glastonbury culture to have a British black rapper to do this. And then when Jay-Z came, there's a sense of ownership.
Yes, sir.
That those things,
and there's a music culture. I think what I would say,
taken away from the creators.
Yeah, I will also say this. It's very important to pay attention, but not to get lost in Twitter.
Yeah. Oh, right? Or any social media platform.
Because as we say, kwa ground vituni. The people who've been coming to Blankets and Wine for 11 years know what's up.
Yeah.
The people who are ours know what's up. To be quite honest, there would be no music festival without the love, support, and community
and consistency.
The people coming, giving them money, supporting us, putting on to artists, writing to us, oh, my cousin does, I don't know what, not. Even Uganda, like our partner in Rwanda, all those have been found because of people writing to us and telling us, I know this guy, talk to this person, all of that. There's a huge sense. And for the people who've been doing this with us for a long time, I think there is a real sense of pride and joy in seeing this thing moving. And not just for us, it's also for their artists, right? It's like, oh my God, I've been supporting you since
2009.
I now see where you are, right?
Wow.
I think also one of the things that we saw during this Kenyan summer is there's also now been a generational shift, and that is such a beautiful thing. Yeah. A lot of people who had about blankets as teenagers
who couldn't come because their parents didn't allow them.
Because they were 14 years old.
Exactly.
Now and they read about us in Pulse. Now they're working.
Pulse. Oh, Pulse, eh?
Because it's 10 years later, it's 11 years later.
Yeah. And now they're coming too.
Now they're working. So now they're coming.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm like, that's amazing because I feel like what we did as guys of the 30s, we were the first, we did like the first plowing of the land.
Yes.
This 20-somethings, they are going to be the first festival generation.
The first
like the first ones who fundamentally understand festivaling. They're the ones who are going to Nyege Nyege on buses. They're the ones who are finding ways to get to bushfire. They are going to be festivals. I think that in this decade, there'll be a lot more festivals that are going to come up in Kenya.
Wow.
One of our commitments is to develop, each year, to develop 100 event and festival producers. Right?
Each year,
I want to develop 100 festival and event producers. Because for me, I'm like, if only 10% of them, if only 10 of them make it, we're saying that then there will be 10 credible music events. So either concerts or festivals, right?
Yes.
You need that because you have a generation of artists who are going to need platforms.
And the dependency on the Burna Boys and the Chris Browns and the Davidos who come and, as far as the clients and customers are concerned, underperform.
Yeah.
And show up at 3 a.m. or whatever it is that happens. Yeah. Hopefully will reduce.
It's 100% reducing.
Yeah.
We produced. We were contracted to through ACE to produce the Tusker Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
It was a brand experience, but we really went in with festival thinking and programming, and we had, I think, 17,000 people over the 2 days.
Wow.
And they came for Kenyans.
Wow.
When we did the the blankets at 10, we had 4,000 people who are willing to pay 3,000 shillings to watch a Kenyan lineup only.
That's it.
So we're already seeing that the wind is tight, the change is coming for Kenyans.
Yeah.
So then you really need to say, then we really need 100 people every year who know really what's up.
And you need the artists as well.
You need the artists. So
to come
the artists are there. So now we need 10 people in 10 different parts of Kenya. You in Nakuru, you in Nairobi, because fundamentally what you actually need is a music circuit.
Yes, you need to go from Kisumu Festival thing to a Marsabit one to a Garissa one.
We want to be able to say that in this thing, between September and March, because that's when we have good weather, right? During our spring-summer season, that there are 100 music events and festivals. Because then that means that now we can do a music circuit.
Nice.
You can say, these are my consecutive dates as a Kenyan artist, and I'm going in these places, and these people know what's up.
Yeah. But, and because now we're not all depending on radio to hear your music.
Exactly.
I can be able to find you.
Yeah, and I think it's cool. I feel very, overwhelmingly positive. And I when you're the creator, there's a part of you that feels very pained because you really know what happened.
Yeah.
You know what are really your ills. You know what isn't true. You know what is exaggerated.
Yes.
And the thing about the way social media is constructed is it's really about gaslighting and outrage.
When you have 256 characters, chances are you're not going to do much more than that.
Right? There's a lot of gaslighting and outrage, and it's complicated. So
and nobody says that.
Yeah. And so a lot of people who have genuine things to say to you, they actually just come to you, and that has been from the beginning of Blankets. They just find you in the DM, they send you an email, they send you detailed information, and we've always had sort of a good relationship with the consumer because this is really how we've grown. This is how we've always known sort of what to adjust or what to fix.
Yeah.
And I think it's important. It's made me think more clearly about crisis comms.
Yeah.
It's made me think more clearly about what is mine to say and what is the brand's to say.
That's correct.
And then it's also just remembering to be at 50 years. And that's a really important thing, right? When there's long view. It doesn't mean that you don't pay attention to now. It just means that this is not the sword that we're going to die upon.
Yeah. That's actually really well put. 50 years.
It's 50 years. I'm 50 years.
Muthoni.
Thank you so much. That's dope.
You killed it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It really is true. There are legends who live among us. And they're not necessarily shouty, extremely wealthy, or extremely charismatic individuals. It's just people who focus on what they want to do, have a fabulous dream, and just keep building, stay consistent, always show up when they need to, whether there's praise or there isn't. And I think Muthoni is one of those. This was a fabulous 3-part series. Go back and listen again. This is what it really takes to build an African startup, because it's a story of resilience, of focus, of choice, and just going, even though it doesn't make any sense. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good week.